Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan.
Yeah,
Welcome
boy,
to
you got the right spot there, looks like, huh?
another episode of There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the show that feels good to hear. We're gonna go right, I was gonna tell you about the Planet of the Apes movie that I saw today. Everyone in the theater was noisy. That was basically my review. People were talking too much. It bothered me, really took me out of the movie. But I've seen like 10 of these things at this point, so it didn't really matter. Apes or control, like we get it. But not going to do the review tonight, not going to do the whole convoluted story because we have a guest tonight who I've been told on good authority by John Miner, friend of the show, someone whose taste I trust very much. We have a real character on the show, a guy who's lived a life, as they say, has good viewpoints and some stories. So please welcome Mhiach Noiti. What's up, Mac? How you doing?
Things are just fine with me.
Just fine?
Yes, perhaps super fine.
Super fine.
Yeah, super fine. I think this is a better word.
Super fine. I like that because it's fine, but it's like the best.
Right.
Fine could be.
Right, and it's not monotonous.
Extra fine.
Extra fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it when things are fine. Well, John told me that you're from Mississippi.
Yes.
And, you have a certain age. And Mississippi, when they do like the rankings of the states of like lowest in education, lowest in poverty, like lowest in racial relations, like Mississippi is always 50 out of 50. It seems like it's kind of a rough and tumble place. Like it's kind of rough there. What was it like coming from Mississippi when you were coming from Mississippi?
Well, actually, in reality, in my memories, Mississippi was, I would consider the worst state, in the United States. There were many times that I wish that I wasn't born in Mississippi. Segregated, and if you whistled at a white woman, you were pretty much dead, by the Klan.
But that literally happened. It was a real potential risk.
It was a reality.
That like every day.
Yeah, because my mom actually told me at all times, look, when the white girl is talking to you, you hold your head down. Don't look her in the eyes. We were constantly coached in Mississippi, avoiding the white girl. And with the guys, after the guys reached 18, we would have to say Mr., start calling Mr. And so at an early time, I began to really get into the civil rights movement, and I was a big follower of Martin Luther King. And then I was in a march with Martin Luther King, and I was with Martin Luther King for at least 2 times in my life. But that was one of the greatest inspirational for me was Martin Luther King. And there were other people like Malcolm X I would begin to like quite a bit because he would tell like it is, and then the white person would just tremble when they saw him on the TV. They would look him in the eye and say, wow, that nigger got fiery eyes. Oh, we got to do something about that. And but it was one of the greatest experiences in my life. Mississippi, then I wound up in Louisiana, which was much better. And then like around about the 8th grade, I started school in Louisiana, and then from that point, I went to Southern University, and then I was in marches there, for civil rights.
So could you, at that time, you could kind of sense there was something in the air, like things were changing, like the days of not being able to whisper at white women were coming to an end, maybe. Would you say so? Or was it just like, hey, I'm tired of the way things are, like anything's got to be better than this?
Well, You know, at one time, I would say, with before Martin Luther King came through, it was like there were nowhere to go, no hope, pretty much, you know, and you would totally act a different way, and actually, in reality, we were actors. Black people were actors, you know, and they would perform, talking a certain way, holding your head down, bowing your head, and saying yassa, and not yes sir, but the word among black people was yassa, you know. And so when Martin Luther King came through, that gave me hope.
Like, you don't need to do that anymore. Like, let's try, you know, let's do something else.
Yeah.
So, you know, in some ways we've come a long way with civil rights, in some ways we haven't, obviously. Do you remember, like, maybe it's a year, maybe it's a moment, someplace in time when you were like, you know what, things are getting better? Or have you ever felt that way?
Well, actually, in reality, things are better, much better in Mississippi. You know, now in Mississippi, it's been a number of years where, you know, people start going to the same school, and we would bust, when I was down there, we would bust at least 10 miles to another black school, you know. Because of what one school had gotten burnt down, so you would bus 10 miles, but you had to go to a black school. Now, where I live in Boguchito, Mississippi, there were no such things as, there were only actually two races. There was black, there was white. Later on, there were Indian came in there, and then, from India, decided that they were sending their kids to school, but they got stoned, and then they decided not to send their kid to the black school, so they moved out of town. As they say, they got out of town before sundown, you know. But anyway, that was fun. In a way, it's a situation and where you don't get angry, you don't build up hate. What you did is just follow the rules to a certain extent, and you got through, you know. And I would say the greatest thing that happened to me was actually going to, I had a cousin in Louisiana, so I went to school there. From high school, I went to Southern University. It was my first college. Being encouraged by a teacher, the principal's wife, said that you gotta go to college, you gotta go. So she hooked me up from Southern University. We were so poor, so I figured they couldn't afford the ring, you know, the class ring.
Yeah.
And then, but she said you can make it. So I went to Southern University for a year, and I one semester. And then when I came back to Kentwood, Louisiana, she told me, said, look, my daughter, you know, you have met her, she's in Milwaukee, she's going to a top-notch art school, and you gotta go. I said, ma'am, I don't have no money, I don't know a way of getting to Wisconsin. And that was, she constantly, every time my daughter would come back from Layton School of Art and Design, she would have her talk to me. And so finally, to get to Milwaukee, I went up there going on a bus, like an old school bus, beat up school bus, on the cherry farm. You know, like if you go up there, you're like the pickers, they go up there and pick cherries in
like
a certain time.
Like kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I went up there, and then I left from that cherry farm with the Jolly Green Giant. That's what we were canning that. So I left from there. I went to Milwaukee because that dream in my mind was that art school. But then I wound up going to that art school, which was all white school. I wouldn't say all white, but you had for 2 years, out of my 4 years, for 2 years, I was the only black person at this art school, private, elegant, high class. And then there was 2 Latinos, and then there were 3 Asian.
So what year was this?
This was in, I started in 1968.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a dream for me. It was located on the Lake Michigan, on the lakefront. It was glass building. And if you ever get a chance to look on the internet, especially Facebook, for Layton School of Art, blow your mind. 2 ladies started it, and they didn't know when to stop, you know. But they started at school and just put all kind of work into it. So it became a household name.
What was the atmosphere at art school like in 1968 in the Midwest? Like, were there beatniks, were there hippies, was it countercultural, or was it like a fine art focus kind of thing?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. Art school in Wisconsin, it was like hardly, not too many people could afford to go to the art school. They would just go to even UWM, which is the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. That is where you take the academic, but then from the people at Layton, because it was a 4-year school. But to get your academics, you get the bachelor, you had to go and take up your academics. But going to that school was, to me, it was like a dream, you know? And it was like, as far as the racial relationship there, it was super, you know, with the white world. I got along with everybody. The only racial thing that I had there was one American Indian that went to school, and I asked him, I said, look, you're Indian. And he got pissed off, and he called me a nigger and all of that. And I didn't say nothing, and the white people, the kid was there to shake their head. Then he came apologized, and let me shake your hand, I made a mistake. I said, well, I won't shake your hand, because if I shook your hand, then that means that I'm agreeing with what you just said. And then that was the only racial thing at this whole school. Harmony was a dream, and it was a dream to go there. And out of that school history, and I think it was like a 50-year at the time, and there were like maybe 10 blacks that graduated from that art school.
But overall, positive experience.
Yeah.
So then you make it out to LA at some point, and you get hooked up with David Carradine?
Yeah, I was a photographer for Dave Carradine and his girlfriend. What happened, how I met David Carradine, see, I was not known as an artist. I worked as a news media, and I covered every entertainer, not a paparazzi. You know, only time I become a paparazzi, you know, when you go to a premiere, you with the paparazzis. Mm-hmm. But, you know, as a special designated entertainment journalist, you know, and how I met David Carradine, we were at a big event, and there was Oatmont, she was an actress, a popular actor back then, and then there were David and a few other, and then all the paparazzi got around and started taking pictures, jumping, pumping into each other, and I laid back and I up and moved. And then after they got out of the way, then Dave Carradine's girlfriend called me. They come here. We don't like the paparazzis. Come, I want this shot of us. You know, never Governor Brown. Not governor at that time. Mm-hmm. And then they say, we want you to send the governor a shot, and then we want you to get the shots to us. Then after that, I went to David Carradine's girlfriend. She had a little company called Dazzle and Razzle, and she said, "Oh, wait a minute, yeah, you know, what I want you to do, I want you to be David Carradine's photographer. Say you really need that because his name would disappear and stuff like that."
I was just about to say, did David Carradine really need a photographer at this point? You know what I mean? Like, was there a demand for David Carradine photos?
Well, no, that was, you're absolutely right. It was the idea was to try to get him back in the media.
With some ace photographs.
Yeah, with some photographs. And the thing about it, then Dave, he didn't live exactly with her. Then he came up to meet me, and then what he did, we sat at the table. Then he pulled out a big joint, like a Bob Marley joint. And my God, he said, "Yeah, you gotta hit it." And then he drank whiskey, but like a fifth of Jack Daniel whiskey, and then I drank a few, and they would drink a big glass of that, and he would smoke. I said, "Oh my God!" Then I hit the joint, and that one puff, I start coughing. Oh. He said, "Well, you can't take it." Then that same night, Dave I went up there to do the photo session. I went with the most expensive lights I got from Sammy Camera, or, you know, renting them. They would let me rent anything there. And then David had to go down the hills to Roosevelt's hotel, and then to do an interview, you know, a cable. And then that's where we went. And then David, on our way down, you know, he's still smoking the joint, you know. And then something very interesting happened at that hotel. And then while David was on the cable show talking, and his girlfriend was right next to him, then the security guard, the security person of their hotel, came and grabbed me in the back. Said, "Look, you get out of here." I said, "I'm with David Carradine." "No, you ain't with David Carradine. I want you to get the hell out of here right now. You." And then one of the person on the show said, "Hey, look, go and tell David's girlfriend that they wasn't a photographer." And she came over there to the security guard. "What are you doing? He's shooting for us." And then that security guard said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I said, "Get out of my face, your breath stinks." You know? But to end this situation with David Carradine, then I wound up shooting for the whole family. You know, they had a big party there in Beverly Hills at a big fancy restaurant. And then they had me to shoot it. They had a girl, but the girl was too slow, and I knew how to move. And so they had me to shoot that. And at that time, John Carradine was still living, and he and I was sitting at the same table. And then his authorizer had him where his finger was just bent, but the guy was just full of telling jokes. He'd come up with one joke after another. He loved telling jokes. And that's what happened with, with the Carradine family. I went, shot and got them in the newspaper and stuff like that. So I did PR not only for David Carradine, I did it for Michelle Green, actress, that played on LA Law.
Yeah.
And a number of entertainers. I lived in the entertainment world. And here in LA, I lived among the Spanish world and the American Indian and then the Brazilian, and that's all of the years.
Working in like the Spanish media.
Huh? Yeah, I
right?
worked with the Spanish media. I worked with La Opinión, every Spanish publication you can imagine.
So of all, because these brushes with famous people and stuff, who is the person you came into contact with who you think has the most class? Who was anybody make an impression of being like, the fame didn't get to him, kind of thing?
I think actually there are a few that really kind of impressed me. One was Betty Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, Betty Davis. There were a number of them. Now Bobby Womack was. Are you familiar with Bobby Womack?
Yeah,
singer.
His ashes are at Forest Lawn Cemetery. They're on display.
Yeah.
So that's my association. But yeah, he's a singer.
Yeah, he and I were tight friends, and I photographed him a lot. Try to get his career going back. And then I helped a lot of people on the way. Dwight Yoakam, I helped him. And
he seems like a working class, meat and potatoes kind of guy. He knows what cooks. He likes rock and roll. He likes country.
Yeah, and what he does,
he's pretty
he mixes it up, and this is what made him different.
Yeah.
Look, rockabilly.
Yeah, but he toes the line real dignified.
Exactly.
It could get silly. He could have the stupid hairdo and the big upright bass and stuff. But he keeps it classy.
And then he had that Pete Anderson was the lead guitarist.
Yeah.
And man, I would first what happened. It was called Club Laundry in Hollywood. In the '80s was really the time for the music, and I came in that one place, and there were a bunch of singers getting together to perform for in the salute to Elvis, And so there were a group here called Long Jesters. I was always following them. And then when Dwight came up on stage, I froze. Everything just really. I got country music is my number one music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I knew right away. I said, man, when he came off the stage, then I said, look, man, you're gonna make it. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah. He said, what I want you to do is start I'm gonna invite you all to my gigs. So all of the gigs that he performed there in LA, then what happened? He kept struggling at it, and all at once Warner Brothers signed him, and then I was at his go away kind of a get together thing at the Roxy, and then the last night there, and then he took off, and then he become big name like crazy, and that was Dwight Yoakam. But there were so many others. There was Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was playing with Roxy the Angel, and I was the photographer for that band. And Johnny Depp wasn't making no money. He wanted to be a musician. And but the thing about it, the girlfriend ran off and left his ass because, no food, no this. And the Roxy the Angels was like an average kind of a band, but they were lead singer was Durango. Johnny Durango, and then he would always sing the Dock of the Bay Otis Redding song. That was it. Barely could get through as for singing, but he went on. But he was stoned on heroin and stuff like that, drug addict. And he said, well, when we get signed with a record company, you're going to be the photographer. Then he went down there one day, and he got signed for Dick Geffen, a record. And then after that, and I wasn't a photographer no more, but they didn't go nowhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same thing with Guns N' Roses. I was with them, around them. But their main photographer, Robert John, who stuck with them and then become a guy that made a bunch of money. But one singer after the other one, I would be with I went on the ground for 2 years and got away from the upper ground. Cause on the upper ground, I could cover whoever I wanted. U2, Michael Jackson, all that. But I act the fool I was homeless. And I went on the ground for 2 years, sleeping here, there on Sunset, up in what I saw, like they have working on a big building or something like that. And then what I would do is crawl on top when they at night sleep and wake up in the morning around about 5 in the morning, I'm gone. But at that time too, I covered every entertainer you can imagine. Spanish world, the Brazilian world, even international stuff. Because in the Spanish market, what they would do, they would run all groups. You know, I don't care if you were black or whatever, they would run you. You know, but in the black journalist world, they only want the black person in there. You know, and you bring a white person in, if it's the black one, then you get chewed out at the publication. Same thing with Jet Magazine, you know. But anyway, the entertainment world is, I lived it, and there's so many artists that made, Tina Turner was another one, went down the tube, and then she stayed with, once she got left out, she stayed with my Brazilian friend. He took her in, and then finally she got hooked up with like a PR guy named Roger Davey, and then he worked with her, and then he got her going, and then she came, and when she first came out, I was there, you know, at Capitol Record when they signed her and everything, and every show she had on her way back up, I was there photographing it.
Let's shift gears a little bit, go back to art. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because you obviously haven't, you're this professional life as a photographer, but your art, the stuff that you,
Hear my talk.
it is, the battery is dead. There we go. Do we have it? I think we have it. The mic was off, I apologize. Okay, we got it. But no, so your art is behind us, it's around us, but we have some examples here. So, we'll just go here. So who's this here?
Well, actually, what I do as an artist, I never look at people and draw them. Everything is just comes out of my head, and so that character at a certain time, it came there. You know, as you go, you feel it, and you don't know where to stop until it's done. And so that's what happened there.
So this is nobody in particular?
Nobody in particular, but I kind of like associated it with an herb, you know, like I name it Hussein.
Okay.
You know. But,
and actually on the back, I don't know if you even knew this was here, but there's a pencil drawing.
Yeah, that's another free form, a way of expression, you know. And I just sometimes I can go like 2 or 3 hours, and sometimes every time a good one will come out, and the other time nothing comes out.
Here's another one here.
Yeah, that's a wood, not a wood, but a linoleum cut, you know. And
you stamp it kind of thing?
Well, you first you got to carve it out. It's a relief print.
Yeah.
You carve it out of linoleum, and then you ink it up, and then you run it to a press, and you print it. But there's here again, imagination, you know, and that one really turned out really nice, and that wasn't one of my best printing, but that's one that I could find, you know.
Yeah, and then on the back here, I like how you reuse them. Is this same kind of thing with the print? This one right here?
Well, actually, in reality, that's not even my work. That was actually at Pasadena City College.
It's on the back of something.
Yeah, it was the back, and John Miner said, "Hey, look, oh man, Mac, you here," and I got it, and I want to use it. You know what it was?
Yeah.
It's the clear side of it, to do work on the clear side.
Do you think that pattern though influenced?
No, that pattern that's well done. That was well.
But did that influence the thing that you did on the other side at all?
No.
I don't think you selected it.
No, it didn't.
This one's real colorful here.
Yeah, that's the one. You know, my world is like collage kind of a thing. You know, I can find paper in the garbage can, whatever, and I take these things and I copy those and I file them away. And so when I do artwork, I build all this collage combination around it.
And then here, we'll do one more here, a nice big colorful one. Oh yeah, I think the mic is out of batteries.
You remember where the mics are here?
So what's going on with this one here?
Well, that's another imagination one. What happened? I came up with a head, and no other part. And then one day I went back. I said, look, I got to finish this, and I started, with this kind of style, and keeping everything in harmony, and. One thing about it, when you're doing anything, you must keep everything into harmony. It has to work together. And so I came up with that part, the other part. But that was a very popular one on Instagram. But I had a different background with it also. And I like doing calligraphs. You know what a calligraph is, right? Calligraphy is you can take you can take do I have to wait until you put the battery back in?
No, you can keep talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, calligraph is that you can pick up images of something. In other words, you take a leaf of and you take and ink it up and you print it, and you ink it up and run a roll pressure on it, and it prints that same image. And so I do a lot of calligraph and then collages.
I'm sorry, Mac. Oh, here we go. We're back. All right.
Okay.
That's great. So you how much time do you spend doing
Visual art.
I can go completely insane in the membrane. As my friends that I worked with and helped them Cypress Hill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another group of that. But I can get insane in membrane with this thing. All of the time, I felt very guilty because I was just a photography. Oh, and I got build a name up as a photographer. All over. I didn't give a fuck. Oh, maybe that's the wrong word. But anyway, I built a name as a photographer. Everybody knew me, and that's what they know me as a photographer. And then about 16 years ago, I said, this is crazy. I finished this fucking top-notch art school. I'm not doing any art. And so one day, I was homeless, and I would go by, I always go by the donut place there, Melrose and Vine. And then I would draw. And then all at once, I got the interest, to proceed in art. And ever since then, I've been doing art. In fact, in that same donut shop, there were a kid. He was kind of broke, and mom was saying he came from New York, a young kid, and then and then he was trying to make it, and all at once he become a big name in the comic, like when they have the comic convention,
yeah.
And he become one of the top-notch guys in that area.
Do you think that, so you've been doing art and you went to art school and stuff like that, do you think you've gotten, as you get older, better at drawing or doing art, or you've just kind of you figure out what you're good at and you've just kind of perfected it?
No, I gotten better because
you for sure, you can like if you broke it down by the numbers, mechanically, you're my line work is better, my coloring is better.
No, the imagination is
better.
Imagination is better because now I can come from, I can just come from nothing. I can throw something down and then work it into a top design, Before I couldn't do that. Even in art school I couldn't do it. You always relying on another artist, and you want to kind of okay, like Modigliani, one of my favorite artists, and there's a number of them. And I would say, I want to get it like Modigliani, you know? I want to get it like Picasso. And then you come up with somewhat of a style, but my thing is that I'm not locked into one style. I kind of refuse it. And so that's when you look at things and look at so many things, the style is different.
Oh. You ever see anything like this, Mac?
No, I haven't.
It happens every week.
Here we go. I think I got it now.
Yeah. This is Dirk, by the way.
Dirk?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Dirk Bentley, country western singer.
Yeah, you like modern country too.
Oh man, I know all. I can talk of country music. I tell you another guy very interesting to me, Charlie Pride.
The black country
I talked
singer.
with him a number of times, and then I'll make it very shortly on Charlie Pride. We were at a table there at the Palace in there on Vine Street, across the street from Capitol Records. Big party, and here Charlie Pride, one of my favorite singers, because I bought 23 albums of Charlie Pride. And then I said, Charlie, man, I bought 23 of your albums. I said, but boy, you know, I said that black people want to throw my radio out of the office and where I was working. I said, but man, I said, Charlie said, you don't have to tell me nothing. He said, look. The way he said it, he said, look, I'm laughing my way all the way to the bank. He said, I know what you mean, you know. But anyway, that was the Charlie Pride world, you know. And Hank Williams had to be one of my favorite singers.
What is
Sir. And also Hank Williams Jr.
They're different. They're very different.
Huh?
Senior and junior, Hank Williams.
Oh yeah,
they're very different.
A different style, but you know.
They're connected through time. You know, there's a third Hank Williams, who does like heavy metal music.
Yeah, I don't dig that third Hank Williams. Forget it.
They get worse every generation.
Yeah, like William Jennings, a son, you know. Shooter. Yeah, right now he's doing a concert. I won't waste my time. Well, William Jennings, I was with him many times. That guy was one of my favorites.
What do you like about country music?
It's a good question. It's a good question because what it is, things are based on how you lived and what you came up with, you know. So country, western, and blues, and Cajun music, you know, and bluegrass. It's the style of how you lived, what you can experience. And it's so tangible, you can just feel
It's very literal.
Yeah, the pain. If there's pain, you can feel the pain, you know. Yeah, you feel like getting drunk, the girlfriend, the mess you around. Country music tells that. Blues tell that. And so I'm just fascinated about country music and blues.
I was happy when you mentioned Dirk Bentley. I'm really fascinated by the modern country music.
Yeah.
Because musically, it's got some, you know, R&B in there. It's got some rock in there.
Oh, they definitely did that.
But subject-wise, it's like
That's
truck,
right.
back road, blue jeans, girl. Like it's the country lifestyle is what it's all about.
Exactly, and it definitely does that, man. And so you got. You know, they took the steel guitar out of the country music. You probably noticed that.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said,
they'll throw the banjo in still though.
Yeah.
And they'll do the violin every once in a while.
Yeah, every now and then. But man, I can go back and the Hank Williams, the Ernest Tubb, everybody all the way up into the modern world. In a way, I kind of like how I guess Alan Jackson probably was the last true kind of a country. You know?
Big hat country.
Yeah, and then playing, you know, And George Strait told him, you're not taking nothing out of my stuff here, you know. So he as long as you're making money, they let you keep it going. But you know, this other guy, they just rejected him like mad. But he wound up changing label and become a big name. What's his name? I can't think of his name. But he become a big superstar by, you know, being rejected. And then he just changed it. It don't even sound country, you know.
It's good. You keep it country. I like
Yeah.
that. So Mac, we're almost out of time. You have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Just Mhiach Noiti. It's spelled weird, but you follow us and we tagged you in it and stuff. But you know, you've lived a life, obviously had a lot of experiences and stuff. What do you hope for the future, taking into account all of your life experiences? What are you looking forward to in the future?
Well, as far as art goes, I want to blend things. You know what I mean by that is not going in a direction in which, okay, you know, like you see a lot of artists, and once you look and you see the work, you're gonna see, you're gonna know it's theirs. Okay. Me, I like this. I like this Gothic. I can go Gothic, and I can get really into Gothic. You know, the black. You know, like his Susan the Banshee. You heard Susan the Banshee?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Man, I used to cover her every time she would come in town. And when you go to her concert, it's like at a graveyard. You know, everybody with the white faces, the red lips, and all black. And then Susie get up there with that wine and all that, you know. But see, in artwork, I go into that kind of a thing. I think I ran off and left one. I didn't bring it, but I even named it Susan the Banshee because it looked just like Susie. And sometimes I can, the imagination will get something in which you would never think that it would have gotten, you know, at that particular time, you know. Because our mind, what we got in our mind is it's a flashing. You know, may not be aware of it. But the mind is just flashing on different things, flashing. And all at once, when it's flashed to me with Gothic, I go Gothic, I put it down.
Follow the flash.
Yeah.
Follow the flash.
And then some people say, well, all these colors you know. But the thing about it, I'm so fascinated with, let's say, with textile, you know. And so I used to say texting with textile, you know. And I go that way. And then I go, but you know, one thing I actually haven't did enough of, it's like black art. You know, what do they call black art? You know, black people.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, well, every time I do one, people go nuts over it, you know. You know, because I can reach back and think about the Mississippi, how the people would dress and what they look like, you know. And when I talk and I see an old guy like that, I just freak out because he's like it's a working piece of art just sitting right in your face.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know. Now, you don't necessarily have to be black, but it can be a white person, you know, a country down to earth looking person. But to put that on paper, and then I got these creatures between black and between a creature, you know, that pops out sometime.
Well, great. Well, I look forward to looking at all of it on Instagram and beyond Mac. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Okay, sure.
Cool. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, this is Adam Papagan, reminding you there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. Good night.
trapped whichever which way you loose, huh? I said, I guess I'm trapped every way I look.